everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. I'm Jo Michaels, the baking author, and today we're going to make puff pastry wrapped brie. So I have butter that's frozen, actually. Very cold butter. And I'm going to grate it on this cheese grater because we're going to do a rough puff, not a totally regular puff pastry. And grating your butter while it's frozen is actually the easiest way to get it into your dough. And rough puff is basically just butter, flour, water, and a little bit of salt. And then you laminate, refrigerate, and you got it. It's starting to get warm already. So once I get both of these sticks grated into here, I'm going to put this right back in the freezer. That's what's really handy about this grater, because it has the container on the back. So I don't really have to worry so much about like getting a separate bowl and all that stuff. So you saw how fast that grated, right? Second stick will go just as fast. Butter does not really get hard when you freeze it. It just gets stiff and it's harder to melt with your hands, which is the problem that I'm having right there. See, it's melting. I usually wrap it in the paper, but I want to hurry because I am going to put this right back in the freezer, and it's already gumming up the front of my grater too. So I want the pieces of butter. I don't want them to stick together or melty when they finally go in my dough. A rough puff I found, you mix your butter in after you kind of get your dough coming together, works much better. You should have a nice soft dough. It should not be push-backy, and you should refrigerate it often. Okay, I'm just going to pop that into the container on the back because it's not grateable, it's that last little bit. So I'm going to pop this back in the freezer, and I will be right back, and we will start making our actual dough that we're going to put this butter into. Okay, see you in a minute. Hey guys, I'm back. This is just some really cold water, and I put some ice in it. You don't want warm water because you don't want to activate the gluten in your flour. Once you activate the gluten, you're not going to be able to roll it or do anything with it. So we're going to avoid the gluten activation process. All right, and you can just do this right on your counter. All right, let's not get picky about how much flour we use. You're going to have to kind of eyeball it. That's about a cup and a half. Maybe 2 cups. All right, 2 cups of flour. All righty, here we go. I'm going to add some salt. Just a little. And that will help it when the gluten develops later. Helps those gluten strands get nice and strong. This is just all-purpose flour. I need my bench scraper or some kind of scraper. Let me grab it. Hard scraper. This is good because this is gonna stick just a little bit to my counter. This is a lot like pie crust, so be prepared. It does get really messy really quickly. You can do this in a bowl. Ain't no harm, no foul in that. But what you're doing is you're going to want to bring your flour together in a nice way. And then we're going to kind of roll it around on our countertop here. If you add too much water, put some more flour in it. You're not going to hurt it, okay? You can cut your butter in with a pastry blender. That's totally fine too. As soon as this is workable, I'm going to go get my butter, and we're going to add it right into our flour. Nice cold water, nice cold butter. kind of like a pie crust, like I said. And just use your best judgment. If you feel like you need more water, add more water. If you feel like you need more flour, like if you don't have enough for that amount of butter, go for it. This is your kitchen. Like, this is really a hard thing to screw up a rough puff. It's really easy to screw up puff pastry. It's really hard to screw up a rough puff. So I am actually going to post the one where I did the regular puff pastry, because y'all need to see not everybody succeeds at everything all the time. And it's okay to get it wrong now and then. Like, nobody's going to beat you up for that. You should be okay with it. It's your kitchen, but you're allowed to make mistakes and stuff. No one is perfect. Least of all me. Jesus. I would be remiss to not tell you that. I am getting into my gluey mess. We are almost there. This is still way too dry, as you can see, too dry. So we're going to add some, whoa, not a whole ice cube. We're going to add some more water. I've probably used about almost a cup. I imagine it will take a cup and a quarter, cup and a half. Now when I refrigerate this, it's going to have the butter in it already. So there we go. It's starting to get sticky and come together, and that's what I'm looking for. Now I'm going to go get my butter. We're going to apply a little flour to it, and we're going to work it into this hot mess of dough that is on my counter. So let me get all this crap off my hands real quick. Ugh. You can start out with the butter and the flour and then add the water. Won't hurt it. All right, I'll be right back. Hang, hang, hang. All right, butter. Yay. Grated butter. I was so mad at myself because I had 2 pounds of butter, and I was just very angry. I felt like I had wasted it all when those other 2 puff pastries did not work. And I should have known better because I've never made puff pastry before. I should have just done the rough puff to begin with. This I have done. This I know I can do. All right, let me go take this to the sink. I will be right back with you. Okay guys, sorry about that. I'm breaking up my butter. Not ideally with my hands. Adding some flour just so it gets between that butter. Now you're just going to smash it. Again, you may want to add more flour. That's fine. You're just going to want to keep those butter pieces intact as much as possible. Once this comes together, we will be able to start our lamination process, but it's probably going to take a minute. What you don't want is to overwork it and make your dough start pushing back at you. That's bad. Again, you can do this with a pastry blender in a bowl. Just make sure your butter is stupid cold. All right, like stupid cold. Don't knead it too much. It's sticky. It's going to need some more of this. You'll know when it's ready to go. It will tell you. Just don't go crazy because you don't want to break that butter up too much, okay? Don't want to break the butter up too much. Don't want to get the dough too warm. Don't want to activate the gluten too much. So once you have like a cohesive pile of dough, kind of like this, you can see the butter in there, right? Like you get the butter, you get the dough, all the things. We are going to squash it out. This is where my rolling pin comes in handy. Don't have it with me right at the moment. I'm going to add some flour to it. Turn it over and give it a turn, just like that. This is getting like mushy. So right there, there's your basic rough puff, just like that. And I'm going to go toss this in some plastic wrap and then put it in the fridge. And it's going to fridge for about 2 hours. And then I'll come back, roll it out, laminate it a few more times. We'll be good to go. We may have to refrigerate it again, but we'll see. All right, I will see y'all then. Bye. Hey guys, I'm back. Puff pastry. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do actually right now is laminate it some more. And then I'm going to wrap it back in this plastic wrap and put it back in the fridge while I get out my, yeah, I wrapped it really well. While I get out my preserves and my brie and get it all unwrapped and ready to go in this dough. There it is. It actually is really soft, so it should not be super hard to roll out. I am going to grab my flour so I can flour my counter. I don't want it to stick. That's a big no-no. Now, if you don't use all of this puff pastry right now, you can actually fold it with some flour and freeze it, and it will be good the next time that you want to use it. Now, see how soft that is? That is how your puff pastry should look right there. It should be nice and soft, pretty easy to roll, not coming all undone. Butter should not be oozing out in 50 million different directions. You should have some really, really, really pretty layers. I'm going to flip it over, add some more flour to my counter. Roll it again. Building up those layers. This time it should be a little easier for me to roll thinner. Last time was kind of a hot mess, if you remember. I'm going to fold this in on the seam, just so it's nice and flat. Roll it over. Roll again. That's my second to last roll. Once I do this, right here, I'm going to fold it back together again, over the seam on the other side, press it together, wrap it back in my plastic wrap, and then get ready with my brie and my fruit. Okay, now it should be a nice smooth stack of dough. Sacadoro. I have not showed you guys how to make those yet, but I intend to. Okay, so nice seam, all nice and in there, rolling it back up. Yes, it's a long piece of plastic wrap, but I give it a turn after my first 2 wraps. I turn it like that and then go over and over again, just like that. And now I'm going to put it back in my fridge, grab my brie, grab my preserves. I have my oven preheating, and I will be right back with you guys after this rests for about 10 minutes in the fridge. See y'all then. Hey everybody, I'm back. It's been resting for 10 minutes in the fridge. I have my apricots and my brie. I did not get a spoon, so I need to do that really quickly. Hang on. Spoon. Okay. Now I'm going to unwrap my puff pastry, which is, again, nice and soft. It feels really good. Love a rough puff. I have some flour on my counter. I'm just going to put a little bit more over top, just so my butter and stuff doesn't stick to my rolling pin. This dough is nice and cold. Actually looks really good. This is why you should not give up on yourself. So if you're not good at puff pastry, try a rough puff, man. It ain't gonna kill you. Now once I get this rolled out, I am actually going to cut it in half. Half of it will be used now, half of it's going in my freezer for another day. If you find yourself like you can't really do this, buy it from the store, okay? There ain't no shame or blame in that, y'all. Just like break down and just go buy it from the store. I ain't gonna judge you. Only you gonna judge you. This is hard to roll out because it's cold, but I am going to get it super duper thin. We're not gonna play the games we played last time, where it comes all to pieces. And doesn't bake because it's too thick. Yes, I know you probably noticed that I keep turning it over, and that's just so it doesn't stick to anything. That butter's going to start kind of coming through the layers a little bit. It's okay. Roll it, roll it, roll it. I knew that pastry was too thick when I started. But I can see the little flecks of butter all through here, so hopefully this one will work. Now I have a pan over here that's covered in foil, and then has a silicone mat over top. So that's what we're going to use to bake on today. So I don't have a butter mess, just in case it all comes flying out, but I am going to put it in the freezer before I put it in the oven, because that's how I roll. I miss watching my mama make bread with this rolling pin. Or, well, you know, rolls. She makes the best Thanksgiving rolls. They were so good. Anyway, okay, enough of all that. All right, so your dough should be pretty pliable. Now I'm going to take a knife. I don't have that either. I'm going to take a knife and cut this in half. Just give me a second. Knife. Okay, so the reason that I'm doing this is because I know it's not going to take this whole piece of puff. Shoot, my Brie's not that big. It's only about 7 1/4 ounces of Brie. So for the piece that I'm going to put in the freezer, I'm actually going to flour it really well between the layers so it doesn't stick together, and fold it over like so. Fold that a little more, like so, and wrap it really tightly in plastic wrap, and I'm gonna put it right in the freezer, because you know what, it don't care. It don't care. So that will go in my freezer. It'll keep for probably 4 to 6 weeks. Use it within that time frame, okay? Thaw it at room temperature and you'll be in good shape. Right now I'm just gonna set it there. Okay, so here's the rest of our rough puff. I think I'm going to roll it out this way. For every minute you let it sit, the easier it's going to be to roll, okay? So if you're not in a hurry, take your time, let it sit. It will make you happy, I promise. Puff pastry does not have to be thick, y'all. It will puff up like you don't even understand. It is crazy whenever it puffs. All that butter that's in between those layers. We worked hard to get them. Let's use them. We are nice and thin. I'm kind of going for like a triangle a little bit because my Brie is a triangle. I am not angry about that right there. And I can still see like chunks of butter in the dough. So that's good. Like pieces of butter. Alright, I'm going to leave it this size. If I need to cut it off, I'm going to cut it off. I told y'all I ain't playing around after yesterday. Made me so mad. Made me so mad. like to fail at things, and I don't like to give up. So those are two things you will never see me do. If I fail at something, I'm going to try again. So here is the second try. And again, this is going in the freezer before it goes in the oven. It's to stop the butter from running out like it did yesterday. It's things I learned as I baked. Okay, so to wrap it, just like this, I'm actually going to cut that. Just like that. This is what having a nice sharp knife does for you. I'm going to fold that to the corner. Get rid of some of the dough on the side. This is easier if it's a circle, you know, because it's a circle. Then it looks like if I cut it here, beautiful. And then I will be able to take off the tips. Awesome. Yeah. Just like that. I'm actually going to cut that piece out, because I don't need it. So as we learned, if you don't need it, take it out. Now that is a nice little bundle right there. And as I learned yesterday, I don't have to worry too much about when it puffs, it coming apart, because it doesn't really rise so much as it does kind of puff out. It doesn't really come apart. So I have my nice little package. It's going on my tray. Looks like this. And now I'm going to go stick it in my freezer for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to pop it into the oven right out of the freezer. Okay, my oven's at 400 degrees. I'm just going to watch it. I have no idea how long it's going to take to bake, so I'll just keep an eye on it. I'll see y'all then. Hey guys, welcome back. Took it 20 minutes at 400 degrees. I had a little bit of a blowout, but it's from the jam, the preserves, not butter. There is no butter on my tray, not even a drop. And that pastry looks so very, very, very flaky and yummy. Oh my goodness. It's really hot. So I'm not going to try to like cut into it right now. I'm going to wait until it cools. That should give that preserves time to like solidify just a little bit more, but the cheese will still be gooey. So that's what's on my tray right there, is the preserves. I will hold it up and show you. It is not butter. There is no butter leaking out of that. I'm not angry about the way this turned out. Yeah, so yeah, super happy with the results today. So if you guys like tried this and you like this video, give me a thumbs up, huh? If you didn't like it, it's okay. We can try again next week. I will post a picture of this, superimpose it right above my head right now of what it looks like once I cut it. Bam. And share. If you liked it, share the video. You may want to like tuck your pastry a little more over the front corner there. So just keep that from running out. You could probably curl it right up over the brie. Not a big deal. That's the only issue I had this time. I'm so happy. Okay, so enough of me being happy. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up, share on social media. I am at Right Joe Michaels everywhere, WRITE. If you see the right, you got the right one. And make sure you subscribe. The button is one of these places. And watch some of my other videos. I got baking videos, I have cooking videos, I have Joe's challenge videos, which are super fun, and turkey cupcakes I made with my granddaughter. They were amazing. Come on back. Come on back and watch some more. I will see you guys next week.